Let's get right into it. Number 10. Vinyl records. Back in the early 2000s, vinyl was basically dead. Record stores were literally giving away their vinyl collections just to clear shelf space. Thrift stores had bins full of classic albums that nobody wanted. You could build an incredible collection for the price of a pizza. But then rich people discovered that vinyl was cool. Those $1 records in the thrift store started showing up in fancy boutiques for $50. Now we've got limited edition colored vinyl releases that cost more than you spend on food all month. Remember those old records your parents threw out? Some of them are now worth more than your car. That Beatles album Yesterday and Today with the original Butcher cover? A mint condition copy sold for $125,000. Regular old records that used to cost nothing are now vintage collectibles. That Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon album that every thrift store had 20 copies of? Now dealers are asking $100 for a decent copy. Young kids who just want to enjoy music on vinyl can't afford to start collecting anymore. They're priced out by rich hipsters who buy records just to display them on their walls. Half of these people don't even own a turntable. They just want to look cool on Instagram with their $500 first pressing of albums they'll never actually play. Number 9. Sourdough baking. Back in the day, sourdough was literally poor people bread. All you needed was flour, water, and patience. People made sourdough because they couldn't afford to buy bread or commercial yeast. But then the pandemic hit, and suddenly everyone with a MacBook and an Instagram account decided they were going to become master bakers. Now you need a $300 Dutch oven to make proper sourdough. Your regular old flour isn't good enough anymore. You need artisanal, small batch, organic heritage grain flour that costs more by weight than a fancy steak dinner. Want to store your dough while it rises? That'll be $75 for a handcrafted Banneton basket. Don't forget the $200 bread lame made from rare Japanese steel to score your loaf. These same people post about getting back to basics and embracing simple living. But try telling that to someone who just spent $400 on a temperature-controlled fermentation box. There are now sourdough starter sommeliers who analyze your starter's flavor profile like it's fine wine. These people post pictures of their bread with captions like "just a humble loaf," while their $3,000 worth of baking equipment sits in the background. They're making the world's most expensive version of what was essentially medieval poor people food. Number 8. Bourbon and whiskey hunting. In 2010, a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle sat on liquor store shelves for $80. Today, that same bottle sells for over $5,000. What used to be a casual hobby of trying different whiskeys has transformed into something that looks more like the stock market. Blanton's, that horse-topped bourbon that used to collect dust on shelves for $30, now has people camping outside stores at 4 a.m. just to get a chance to buy it for $65. And if they're lucky enough to score one, they can flip it for $200 the same day. Some liquor stores have started doing lottery systems for these bottles. You literally have to enter a raffle just for the privilege of spending your own money on a bottle of booze. Bourbon hunters spend their mornings driving from store to store, following delivery trucks like paparazzi chasing celebrities. Some even pay store employees to tip them off when rare bottles arrive. Some collectors never even open their bottles. They just keep them sealed, watching the value go up like some sort of liquid stock market. There are people with bunkers full of unopened bourbon worth more than their cars. That bottle everyone's fighting over today was probably collecting dust on a shelf 10 years ago, right next to the bottom shelf vodka. Number 7. Camping and hiking. Remember when camping meant throwing a $20 tent in your backpack and heading into the woods? These days, camping means dropping $400 on a titanium coffee maker that weighs less than your phone. And that basic tent is now a 4-season expedition shelter with a price tag that could cover your rent. Glamping killed affordable camping. People pay $1,000 a night to sleep in a tent with hardwood floors, a king-size bed, and better Wi-Fi than your house. Basic hiking has gotten just as absurd. People used to wear whatever old shoes they had. Now you need technical trail running shoes with proprietary foam and carbon plates. The ultralight movement takes it even further. People spend hundreds of dollars to shave off a few ounces of weight from their gear. They'll spend $70 on a titanium spork that weighs 0.01 ounces less than a regular spork. The hashtag van life trend transformed from broke college kids living in their vans into tech millionaires dropping $200,000 on custom Sprinter vans, complete with espresso machines and shower systems nicer than most apartments. Most of these luxury vans never leave the Whole Foods parking lot. Number 6. Home coffee brewing. Remember when making coffee meant dumping pre-ground beans into a $20 Mr. Coffee machine? Now you need a PhD in fluid dynamics just to make your morning cup. The third wave coffee movement turned everyone into coffee snobs overnight. Now people weigh their beans with jewelry scales and measure water temperature to the decimal point. A basic coffee setup can cost more than some people's first car. You've got $500 grinders promising the perfect particle size, because your coffee is ruined if the grounds aren't exactly 800 microns. Then there's the $200 gooseneck kettle. It's just a kettle with a weird spout for drawing pretty circles while pouring hot water. The home espresso machines have more computing power than the Apollo missions. Entry level starts at $1,500. Want something good? Better take out a second mortgage. And the coffee itself? People are buying beans that have been pooped out by exotic cats. These Kopi Luwak beans cost up to $600 per pound. That's $30 per cup for coffee that's been through a cat's digestive system. Your taste buds get spoiled and regular coffee tastes like hot brown water. You become that person at the office complaining about the break room coffee, while everyone else is just trying to stay awake. Number 5. Bicycles. Back in the day, a decent bike would cost you about the same as a month's rent. Now some bikes cost more than a brand new BMW. The specialized S-Works Ethos costs $14,500, and that's without pedals, because when you spend the price of a small wedding on a bike, pedals are considered extras. Rich folks aren't just buying one expensive bike, they're buying entire collections. You need your road bike for smooth roads, your gravel bike for rough roads, and your mountain bike for no roads. Each one costs thousands of dollars. Even the basic accessories have gone insane. A carbon fiber water bottle holder costs $70. The cycling clothes aren't just clothes anymore. You need a kit. These matching spandex outfits can cost up to $500. The bike computers now measure your heart rate, power output, cadence, and have built-in GPS. But here's the real kicker. A $10,000 bike is only about 2.5% faster than a $1,000 bike. That's paying $9,000 extra to arrive at the coffee shop 30 seconds earlier, but at least you'll look good doing it. Number 4. Street art and graffiti. Imagine spending $5 on a can of spray paint in the 1970s and creating something that would sell for millions today. That's exactly what happened with street art. Back then, graffiti artists were seen as vandals, sneaking around at night, painting subway cars and building walls. The whole hobby cost less than a pizza. But then rich people discovered it could make them even richer. Take Banksy. He started by spray painting rats and political messages on walls. Now his work sells for millions. One of his pieces literally shredded itself after being sold for $1.4 million at auction. The shredded version is now worth even more. Then there's Samo, Jean-Michel Basquiat's tag name when he was spray painting cryptic messages around New York. He went from being chased by cops to having his paintings sell for $110 million. That's more than some small country's GDP. These artists were making statements against capitalism and wealth. Now their anti-capitalist art is being bought by the very people they were criticizing. It's like painting "Eat the Rich" on a wall and having a billionaire frame it in their mansion. Louis Vuitton hired graffiti artists to tag their handbags. The same companies that used to call security when they saw someone with a spray can now pay hundreds of thousands for commissioned pieces. Number 3. Backyard chickens. Backyard chickens went from being a poor person's grocery store to the Tesla of urban homesteading. Keeping chickens used to be what you did when you couldn't afford to buy eggs. Your coop was whatever scraps of wood you had lying around. But then rich people discovered chickens, and everything got bougie. Now we've got chicken coops that cost more than some people's cars. Heritage Hen Farms sells luxury chicken coops for $100,000. These coops have automated doors, climate control, and security cameras. It's like a 5-star hotel for birds that poop on everything. People are even paying thousands for designer chickens. The Ayam Samani breed is completely black. Feathers, meat, bones, everything. These goth chickens cost up to $5,000 each. People are paying luxury car down payment money for a chicken that lays the same eggs as a $15 regular chicken. Even regular chicken supplies have gone upscale. Organic, non-GMO, locally sourced feed costs more per pound than human food. There are chicken treats made with dried mealworms and fruits that cost more than a fancy dinner. These fancy urban chicken owners spend about $40 per egg when you factor in all their costs. Meanwhile, organic, free-range eggs at the store cost $6 a dozen. Number 2. Vintage video game collecting. Back in the early 2000s, collecting video games was pretty simple. You'd hit up flea markets, dig through bargain bins, and build your collection without breaking the bank. Then in July 2021, A sealed copy of Super Mario 64 sold for $1.56 million. A video game that originally cost $60 sold for more than most houses. And just like that, the rich folks noticed our little hobby. These wealthy investors started treating video games like fine art. They created special grading companies that rate games based on their condition, finding perfect copies of games that had been sealed for decades. Suddenly, games that used to cost $50 were selling for thousands. Regular collectors who just want to play these games are getting priced out. That copy of Earthbound you've been saving up for is now in some hedge fund manager's investment portfolio. Rich folks are buying up sealed games and storing them in climate-controlled vaults. They're treating Super Mario like a fine wine that needs to age. These investors likely think Luigi is just Mario's green-colored intern. Number 1. Trading card games. Remember when you could buy a pack of Pokemon cards for $3? Those were simpler times, when the biggest flex was having a holographic Charizard in your Velcro wallet. But then rich people discovered trading cards, and suddenly everyone's acting like they're trading stocks on Wall Street. In 1999, some kid trades his peanut butter sandwich for a shiny Charizard card. That same card today is worth more than a house. A single first edition Charizard recently sold for $420,000. That's enough money to buy a house, or approximately 140,000 peanut butter sandwiches. Now, instead of kids trading cards at recess, we've got guys in suits buying entire cases like they're investing in real estate. These people don't even open the packs anymore. They just store them in climate-controlled vaults. There are actual security companies specializing in rare card protection. Imagine being a security guard and telling people you protect Pikachu for a living. Card grading is like a beauty pageant for pieces of cardboard. Companies analyze your card under microscopes, checking for the tiniest imperfections. Get a perfect grade, and suddenly your $3 pack of cards becomes a down payment for a house. That pile of worthless cardboard your parents complained about might just be your retirement fund now. Just make sure your mom didn't throw it out. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.